everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Interlink podcast, an initiative under the Center for New Economic Studies at OP Jindal Global University. Interlinked aims to hold nuanced conversations on the interdisciplinary nature of problems plaguing the world today. As we hold conversations on the socio-political climate, we want to break down these intellectual barriers and look at topics in a way that allow us to question them from several facets. If you're listening to us for the first time, please do have a look at our previous works as well. When you think of rural education, you might imagine chalk, blackboards, and outdated classrooms. But in a small panchayat near Pune, a different revolution has been quietly unfolding. Vigyan Ashram, where Vigyan means search of truth and Ashram symbolizes the simple living and high thinking, is a school that was founded by Dr. S.S. Kalbag in 1983. It was started under the aegis of the Indian Institute of Education, although it is a separate and autonomous organization, where learning happens not just in classrooms but through real life problem solving approach where education, technology, and entrepreneurship is blended together to transform rural development. At the heart of this vision is our today's guest, Dr. Yogesh Kulkarni. Born and raised in Nashik, he did his bachelor's in mechanical engineering. He also worked for 3 years in the corporate world in an MNC and later combined his postgrad in business administration, master's in distance education to a PhD in educational communication. His years of volunteering, like teaching children English and mathematics or joining the literacy movement, paved the way to reimagine what learning could mean for the rural India. Welcome to Interlink, Dr. Kulkarni. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
We are so glad to have you here. And I think I would like to start off by mentioning that you have been associated with Vigyan Ashram since 1999 and became the director in 2003, correct?
Yeah.
So you have seen its evolution throughout the past 2 decades, and I think I my first question to you would be looking back, what do you think has been the biggest achievement and the biggest challenge?
See, from 1983 till 2001, I will say it was like we were working with the traditional technologies. So at that time, it was the traditional fabrication in the villages. Like we were doing welding, we were doing carpentry, but they were like some kind of electrical tools, but most of them were mechanical tools. In our village in Power, we got internet in 2001. We started using computers, and then basically from 2002 onwards, our journey towards digital fabrication started. Like computer drawings, graphic designing, then using the CNC machines, computer operated machines, 3D printing, laser cutting. So it was started. So this evaluation is from, I will say, from 2002 till now. We are in that, like we are evolving using the digital fabrication. So from personal fabric, like from the I will say the traditional electrical machines to the computer operated machines. And now we are in the third leg where we are now using a AI. We are using a AI to make the designs, and even the machines are becoming more sophisticated, more advanced. So we are in the now going towards the personal fabrication, and everything which is we are using the computer. So less on the personal as like manual skills, more of using how you are using a digital skill. So that is the transformation that I am seeing.
That is amazing. What about the biggest challenge that you've faced as a member and a director of Vigyan Ashram?
See, any organization got uh, the strength, weakness, opportunity, threats. It is everything is revolve around one thing, that is a people. So Vigyan Ashram is doing the whatever we could do today is because of the people we have with me, my team members. We are able to achieve it. Biggest kind of challenge is to get more people, to increase our the pace of what we are doing, to increase our reach and our, I will say, the pace of our program. Again, the opportunity, the threats and the weaknesses again are the same. If we get more people, we have more opportunities. We can go to more unserved locations. So I think everything revolves around people.
Okay, I think that is true because the more and more we switch from print media or traditional forms of media and we go to the digital market, especially in rural areas, I think it is more difficult than in urban areas to sort of teach people about digital marketing, social media marketing, and even to, I think the internet access must also be some sort of problem, if not now, then before, earlier. It must have also posed a sort of problem to the development of and to the reach that Vigyan Ashram wants. I think that is definitely something that that can be turned into an opportunity. I think now that you have a lot of forums to reach people out on, I think the world, the way that it consumes media, the way that it learns about new things, I think it can be seen both as a problem
Yeah.
but also as a bigger opportunity.
See, internet earlier it was not there in Vigyan Ashram. I will say till 99 we don't have the internet.
Right.
And but then because of internet we see that there is an opportunity. Then first venture which I joined Vigyan Ashram is to how to get the internet at Vigyan Ashram. And then we established our own internet center in Pabal and started providing an internet connection to the villages around Vigyan Ashram. So
Okay.
Vigyan Ashram provided an internet connection to more than 50 villages around my village, Pabal, and we provided telephony service to the 70 villages
Okay.
using a wireless in local loop. So first of all, we got the internet at Vigyan Ashram.
Okay.
Once
Wow.
we, yeah, once we got an internet at Vigyan Ashram, then we realized there is no content on internet which is useful for the rural community. So what the farmer, if go to internet, what he will get? And therefore, then we develop a website called as A-Aqua. That is almost all question answered, where farmer can post a question and the
Mm-hmm.
experts can give them answer. So it was a website which we developed and we started using it. The so later on this company grow big and basically done many things. But as you said, these all problems are the opportunities. And when I am talking about digital fabrication or digital things, I'm not saying talking about only a digital social media marketing, and of course that is also important. But we are talking about increasing the use of computers, internet, data, AI
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
every vocations, in every skills. So it is
Right.
required for agriculture, it is required for food processing, it is required for the engineering and the fabrication and carpentry. So in each of whatever we do, start using increasing the digital kind of involvement of the digital tools in each of the operations we do. So that is now
Absolutely.
getting increased.
I think building on that, I'd like to ask you, what do you think is the most uncomfortable truth or according to your experience, what have you learned about the gap between rural development in theory and rural development in practice?
See, you don't need anything to do as a rural development. See, you are basically the you means the urban basically or maybe policymakers. They think rural area is something which is alien kind of thing, which is
Mm-hmm.
alien. So if we get a good electricity, if we get a good connectivity, if we get a good internet in the villages,
Yeah.
then we don't need anything. We are basically the rural people are capable to develop themselves. But if I want to construct a house in a village, then I need to spend more money on that for constructing a house than constructing a house in a city because I need to transport the metal, I need to transport the cement, all the raw materials, and therefore and the skills are not easily available. So I spend more money. So in fact, doing a business in a village sometimes become more costly because that ecosystem is not available. The rural the roads, the infrastructure, it is not good. So you take more time to travel. You
Right.
don't have a connectivity. You have a very less frequency of the public transport system. So therefore, the cities are getting bigger. So in terms of the rural development, if somebody want to do a real development, don't do anything. Just we need to have a good road. We need to have a good connectivity. That is the internet and the data. We need to have a good electric connection, and things will have to. We need to have a water. So it's a
Mm.
irony, like,
Right.
okay, you have a water, the villages are collecting a water and like so much of watershed area is there, but in the summer there is no provision for a water. And whatever the water is there, basically it gets down the line, it goes to the rivers and basically a dams, and we are not getting the, even the villages which are close to a dam or in the watershed area, they are not getting benefit from that water. So the rural development you don't need to do. So that's what I learned. We don't need anything in terms of rural development. Yeah.
So I'm sensing that a lot of support and collaboration from government is needed. I'd like to ask you that, in your view, what legislative or policy reforms would empower organizations like Vigyan Ashram to achieve their aims, for example, rural development with education, RDES, that is the policy, philosophy that Vigyan Ashram espouses? What legislative or policy changes can the government make that can help your organization?
See, the question is there is no need to help the my organization or a NGO sector or maybe a civil society organizations for do it. Civil
Okay.
society organizations are there because we want to experiment something and demonstrate to the government like it can work and it is useful. So we are
Right.
like a laboratories. We are experimenting it. So we are not a government. So we cannot supplement them. So it's
Right.
their job. They should do it. Yeah. In terms of for the rural development, as I told you, government only need to provide a better infrastructure, and then things will start. It will basically start falling in place. Many times, what happened, like our all kind of a thinking and all kind of planning, they are we are doing a urban centric thinking about it. Uh,
Right.
and we always think, okay, this is the place where we'll get a people and we want to, and therefore the cities are growing big. So
Right.
if we decides to make a decentralized model of development, and if we encourage basically kind of industries and the entrepreneurs, basically we encourage them to set up the plan wherever they are, and if we can make the process easier of setting up in for remote places, and if the like internet is available, a good kind of a reliable electricity is available, who want to come and do a job, like let's say in Bangalore, so much of a you are spending time in traveling. So who would like to basically travel so much of distance and basically stay over there? If you get something is everything is closer and you get all kind of good quality things in a rural areas, then nobody will like to come and work in a crowded place and a cities. So I think the government, our focus should be basically have a decentralized kind of development. Maybe more number of cities, more number of industrial parks in the remote places than in a few urban centers.
Absolutely. I can see how the decentralized approach would benefit more, because the problem of migration is also something that Dr. Kalbach talked about in one of his interviews, that he wants to reduce the migration from the rural areas to the urban areas. And I think if the decentralized development approach is programmed, I think that would definitely help a lot of migration to reduce it. So, my next question to you would be, what are your thoughts on the national education policy of 2020, especially with its focus on encouraging vocational exposure? And do you think does Vigyan Ashram have any plans to integrate it within itself?
See, the new education policy talked about many good things. One of them is the integration of vocational education from grade 6.
Right.
If you look at the new education policy, they title the topic as a reimagining of vocational education. So they are trying to reimagining the vocational education in the country from 6 to
Right.
12. At present, what is happening, like till 10th grade, you do all your academics, you don't do many things by hand. And then
Right.
basically after 10th standard, you expect them to either do a ITI or maybe a short-term courses, and they
Mm-hmm.
expect them to become a skilled person to be a useful to the society, contribute to the industry. But right from the grade 8 to grade 12, we are not helping him to become an enterprising. We are just training them through a rote learning. We are teaching them how to learn using the books. So that ability to do different things, try out different things, to keep on tinkering. So that kind of ability of a child get lost. Therefore, the new education policy talk about vocational education from grade 6. But it is not the same vocational education that you can see, like you have a different trades and different job roles. It is not talking about that. It is talking about vocational capacities. The vocational capacities means, see, even if, let's say, for example, if you want to become a doctor, so the first thing you need is basically you should have a ability to do a empathetic communication.
Right.
Now, if you want to become a customer service executive or maybe a kind of maintenance engineer, or you are doing basically any kind of service industry, maybe a retailer or maybe a advertiser, the first thing comes as an empathetic communication. Like you should able to talk to your customer empathetically in whichever vocations you talk about, in the any service professions. So the first quality becomes like, okay, you should able to empathetically talk to your customer. So that is a common competencies. So this vocational education, what we the NEP is talking about, is to inculcate such kind of competencies in the child, not as a vocational for the job. So it's not basically okay, the vocational to become a nurse or to doctor or like sanitation worker. It's not talk about that. It talks about hygiene as a competency. You are able to maintain the workplace hygiene. So maintaining workplace hygiene is the competency. It is required for a chef. It is required for a doctor. It is required for a nurse. It is required for a sanitation worker, and it is required for the waiter. Or you can take any occupation. So basic hygiene and sanitation is a competency. So new education policy talks about developing such kind of competencies in a child from grade 6 to grade 10. After 10th, then child will think whether if you want to become a go for a higher education, he can go for higher education. If you got a good marks, if you have a ability, he can go for pursue a career in medicine or maybe as a nurse or uh, maybe a marketing professional or maybe a lawyer. He can choose the profession as he like. But the new education policy talk about giving him a different kind of vocational exposure. So he will decide about his own preferences, like what I really want to become, and he will develop such kind of this kind of competencies in them. He will be better in some of them. He will not so better in some of them. So in which with those competencies he is better, then he will basically try to excel in that after 10th grade. Vocation, and then he can become a better citizen and basically contribute more. So this is the philosophy behind the new education policy, and I believe this is definitely in line with what Vigyan Ashram is trying for or we are uh, working on, and definitely we welcome it and we are joining them to uh, see policies are good, but it says like the real devil is in the implementation. So the challenge is basically how to do that policy effective on the ground. So yes, for doing that, to show the way how to implement this policy or whatever the good thoughts are there in the new education policy and its textbooks, Vigyan Ashram is trying to demonstrate as a model in some of the school, like, okay, this is the way we need to implement it.
Right. Absolutely. I think the core competencies, I think we can also term them as soft skills, soft power that a person has, which are core, as you said, they are core skills that you learn. And I think uh, every school, I think, irrespective of whether or not a person whatever they choose to do with their life, I think personality development is something that should start from, I think I would say it should start from third, fourth grade itself. Because I remember we were being taught third languages in fourth grade. And if third languages are being taught at fourth grade, I think personality development skills, soft skills, I think they should also be introduced more early on. Um, I would,
Yeah.
yes, yes, please
Go
continue.
ahead. Yeah. No, I was saying what you say is right, but see, you can't give these soft skills without doing a authenticate work. So
Okay,
you
yeah,
need to have some examples. You need to have some example so that you will like, let's say, communication. So you need
right,
to take some example how to do communicate. So therefore, you need to give them a some occasion as a practice. But
right,
occasion, whatever the skills they learn in the 6th to 10th grade is not important. Important is the competencies. But to
right,
develop these competencies, we give them a various kind of a small job so that they can practice, get that, acquire those competencies. That's what I want to
absolutely,
add.
right. So, I think right now another important pressing issue that the entire world is facing is climate change. And like you also mentioned that we need better infrastructure development in rural areas so that people themselves can work on people can work on themselves. So with climate change directly affecting agriculture, water, livelihoods, the land, etc., how is Vigyan Ashram adapting its curriculum and technologies to prepare the youth for a climate resilient economy?
See, there are many ways we can do it. In fact, Vigyan Ashram is do it. Like the projects we take, for example, let's we work in the waste management. Like how
Right,
we can reduce the wastage of water in terms of the domestic use and in terms of the agriculture water also. So what we can do, let's say for domestic use, we can do the recycling of water. We can use the gray water kind of to get it treated and again reuse it. So in Vigyan Ashram, we at least use our water at least 2 times more. Like once we use it primarily, then again recycle it and again recycle it before it goes to a drain. And then also we see maximum of it is goes to the agriculture or developing fodder or this kind of thing. So recycling of water is one thing. Reducing the waste. Let's say for example, kitchen waste. Vigyan Ashram is working on making a compost out of it, or let's say agro waste residues. Like you get a whatever, like so the stubble burning, like people the farmers burn the whatever residue, agro residue in the field to clear their farm. If we can use that, we can able to compost it very fast. Then it will help them to increase the organic carbon of the soil. So Vigyan Ashram has developed a composter, and we are training our the farmers in making the better compost of their agro residues. So there are multiple ways in Vigyan Ashram is working on let's say basically to face the climate crisis. In agriculture, we are promoting protected agriculture, like how we can use the artificial intelligence technologies to take a better decisions. In
okay,
agriculture, there are several variables are there, right? From climate, seed quality, soil quality, the different like soil parameters and the climatic condition and the crop prices. So many variables are there. So to basically to manage all these variables and to get the right decisions, to get a maximum yield is something which is the job of very intelligent person. And so therefore, there we can take the help of artificial intelligence to aid the farmers to take the right decision. So at present, we are working on developing certain kind of AI-based solutions to help the farmers. But climate change is not only though the rural areas are facing maximum impact of it, they are not the only responsible. In fact, the awareness about the climate change and the climate mitigation of it has to be done at every level, not only in the rural areas. But yes, everybody is has to be work on it.
Absolutely. I think the evolution of AI is a very interesting change that is being currently felt by the world. What do you think could be the disadvantages that AI could pose to your organization?
Um, Firstly, at like uh, see, organization, Vigyan Ashram as an organization is insignificant. Um, a society. It's basically a societal. It's a response to the need of the community. Therefore, Vigyan Ashram is there. Tomorrow, if the problem is not there, that there is no reason for Vigyan Ashram to exist, and I will be most happy in doing that. So Vigyan Ashram is there because there are certain problems are there that need to be overcome, and therefore we want to act on it. So it's a vehicle for us. If you reach a destination of having a equitable society, then basically if the dream is true, then there is no need for a vegan ashram to exist. But coming to your question, what challenges the AI poses towards society? I will just rephrase the question. Um, See, every technology is a double-edged weapon. So there are positive, there are definitely there are going to be a other side of the coin. Um, but we can't say okay, we will not. We will just overlook the technology and
Right.
sit idle. So we need to work on the positive of it. We need to educate our people how to use it a right way. So that's the only solution for doing this. So instead of basically blaming AI or basically not accepting it or basically showing a resistance will not help because the technology will not wait for you. So it will, if you come with it, it's okay. Otherwise, also it is going to get evolved and developed. So best thing is to basically try to go ahead, grab it, learn about it, and see that how to use it for betterment of our community. I think Vigyanashram want to go in this way.
Okay. I also agree with your opinion that merely disregarding the presence of AI will not do anything, will not prove useful to anybody. Now that it has developed so much and it is developing onwards, I think educating people is the number one priority that every country should focus
Yeah.
on. AI-based skill training platforms, is Vigyan Ashram using any skill like AI-based skill training platforms, or what kind of platforms of AI is Vigyan Ashram using or is trying to develop?
No, no, we are not trying to develop anything, but we are definitely we are using it. And as I said, we are using the AI or power of the computers in each of the occasions. We are using it in agriculture. We are using it in food processing. We are using it in our basically electrical and electronics for drawing different designs. So it's not like uh, we are basically, of course, we also try to develop certain kind of solutions ourselves. But like we collect our, like, let's say for example, capsicum crop. We are collecting a data on our own plants. We are making a repository. We are trying to make the sense of the data. We are teaching our students how to collect the data, how to protect it, how to sort it out, how to analyze it, how to ask the computer to work with the data and give us a conclusion of it. Because these are the new skill set, and we are trying to give our students to these kind of skills. Okay, what is the importance of collecting a data? Uh, how to maintain the clean and reliable data, the sanity of the data. So these all things we are trying to teach our, we are teaching our students by our the schedule and way. Uh, but at present, we are not ourselves as a programmer. We are not developing any applications. We are using it whatever is ready. We are just trying to adopt it, use it for our problems. That's
So
what we are
that
doing.
is that is the thin line between adapting to AI and completely being dependent on AI is something I want to understand from you, because how do you prevent these platforms from becoming a one size fit all sort of models that can push or that can erase local knowledge traditions that farmers employ themselves?
See, basically, we are teaching our student how to use the AI as their assistant, as a
Okay.
smart assistant. So if you treat it as a, if you know, okay, these tools are my slave, then master need to be a smarter.
Okay.
And so the slave can't take a decision, master has to take a decision.
Right.
So we are trying to teach our students to use this tool by applying their own mind judicially, not depending on them. Like they will take everything, and then what should you do? Uh, so what contribution you are making in doing it? What the kind of uh, element of what I will say, the human element is there in your decision. See, two things are there which are completely humanly in nature. One is creativity and another is empathy. Empathy is about talking to the people,
Yeah.
understanding their need. So if are you able to understand the need of your own people, uh, you are close talking to your client, you are talking to a customer, talking to a farmer or whatever. So that need identification, machines can't do it. So the human is can do it. Uh, Talking to a elder, talking to the poor man, talking to the weak person, understanding his need and trying to develop the solution. That machines can't do, we can do it. So we are training our student first in terms of the empathy. Second is the creativity. The creativity is something basically try to find out, basically combine two three experiences and try to develop a entirely new experience. The chat GPT and whatever AI tools try will give you a different options, but we can come with, because we know the local context, we know the local custom, we know the local traditions, all the data is not there at present in the chat GPT. So we can use all our this context to have a better solution. So we may use the input from the chat GPT, but yes, the creativity part has to come from us. Otherwise, so that we are trying to teach our students, like use this AI tool, but these two skill set, the creativity and empathy, have the ownership with you.
So, how do you judge whether or not a student has truly used their creativity in the outcome that they produce? Do you follow an exam structure? Do you have midterms, final exams? And what is your metric for deciding what kind of work a student has produced?
Uh, See, mainly whether the customer has any satisfied customer, whether he has shown his solution, whatever he has done, whether he has shown to the anyone and who said, okay, this is useful for me. So that quality of the output, if you make the product, then whether he has shown it to someone, whether he has like you made a podcast, how many people are going to see it. So that is kind of a so that quality consciousness, whether it's useful for whom you are doing the work, is the yardstick. So that is we follow something called as a, it's called as a portfolio approach. So we see whether they have their portfolio of the work. So every student need to write their own blog. So all the project, whatever work they do, it is written over there. So it's available for public to see it. So this is their evaluation. So the yes, we do follow some kind of a summative examination where like you can ask for some questions and uh, 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 but these questions are based on those basically which you cannot test it practically. Let's say for example you are doing I want to teach you about doing electrical wiring, let's say for example, or running a tractor, let's say, or maybe driving a car. And I can't ask you certain questions like, okay, what, let's tell me what will happen if you uh, travel with the speed of, let's say, 120 kilometers per hour, or whether on the speed breaker. But such kind of question, what is the safe limit to travel, I can't ask you to do it practically, because they are having a safety associated with it. So such kind of questions which need based on the safety or the some principles or some abstract concept, that can go into a theoretical part or a written examination. But rest of this, it will be a portfolio approach. It will have some assignment and the feedback. The most important kind of a assessment tool is the feedback of the customer. whether the customer it liked it, for whom you made that thing. Yeah.
I think that's a wonderful approach. Project-based assessments, I think, should be more streamlined in at least the middle school and the high school, if not at a higher education level. I think that's a great approach where people will actually practically use the knowledge that they have gained from the theory and then apply it and build their
Yeah.
skills. So, we're towards the end of the podcast episode, and I'd like to ask one last question to you. And that is if every listener of this podcast could do one small thing today or tomorrow to support the vision that Vigyan Ashram has, that is to empower and transform rural education and development, what would you want that to be?
Uh, See, there is no something like a rural and urban actually. The aspiration of the rural area and the cities, they are the same because television and everything is reached every like even remote village. So they see the same serial, they see the same word as you are saying it. So the aspirations are
Right.
almost same. So you can't say a rural and urban area. Uh, like there is a difference for the rural education. But what we can do
Okay.
as a society again we can be little bit empathetic with those who work by hand. We should start understanding, we should start appreciating the work which many of the people do by the hand, like the table or the furniture I can see behind your chair. I'm sure they must be made by some worker who never went to a school, or he may have left the school in between, and still he made such a beautiful kind of the furniture and the wall and the interior. So we should basically try to appreciate those kind of thing, uh, and we should start giving a credit to it, because as a society we always we are not looking, um, uh, we are not giving respect to the people who works by hand. I think we start doing that. So I expect the people who are watching this podcast should basically do that.
I think also one thing that I would take away from this podcast would be to change my mindset the towards the way that I look at the words rural and urban. As you have pointed out a lot of times in the podcast as well, that there is no such distinction between rural and urban areas. And I think that is something that a lot of us should, at least I personally will take from this episode. But one last thing I would like to ask you is, what advice would you give to the youth of today? What advice would you want to give us, like people my age?
See, the advice is, see, technology is changing rapidly. And so your generation, in fact, I was talking to someone like I would be more happy if you were basically born 20 years later, because the technology is changing so fast and it's so exciting period. New things are happening. Um, uh, it's time for our country and the youth in the country to grab these opportunities, because whatever we could earlier not achieved, it is we will able to achieve it by using this technology and to reduce the inequality. See,
Right.
the technology is the best social equalizer. Technology operates in the same way, whether it's a rich or a poor. Technology doesn't discriminate. And so we have a powerful technology like a computer, the internet, the AI, and so many tools. I think we should able to bridge this gap of the knowledge between those have, those not, those people who are controlling knowledge and not controlling knowledge. So my advice, or I will suggest the youth of the country, like you have that golden chance to basically to transform our society into a truly equitable society. And I think I'm very optimistic, like the youth like you will able to do that.
Thank you so much for joining with us
Yeah.
today, sir. This has been an
Thank you.
experience of its own. I have got to learn a lot. I'm sure all the listeners have also learned a lot about very different things, in fact. And we truly appreciate the advice that you have given us as well. Thank you so much for for
Thank
this
you.
wonderful
Yeah.
episode.
Thank you.